Live from Broadway, Hello, Dolly, with your hosts, Pat Collins, David Birney, and Bill Harper.
Fontaine Theater. With me, David Birney, the star of UPN's new series, Live Shot. David, of course, the 30th anniversary production of Hello, Dolly. So tonight there's some nostalgia mixed in with the usual opening night excitement.
You know, why this show remains one of the great American musicals, I think, is its message, and that is to love and be loved, whether you're young or not so young. I mean, nothing compares to sharing your life with someone.
Those emotions so beautifully put to music by Jerry Herman. Music we'll hear again tonight. And of course, we'll see one of America's legendary ladies of the stage, Carol Channing.
And you know, people talk about how remarkable it is she's doing the show 8 times a week, but I don't think that's what's remarkable. What's remarkable is her. She's remarkable.
Absolutely. I bet she was remarkable at 24, and she'll be remarkable at 104. And she's back where she belongs, recreating the role of Dolly Levi.
Hello, Harry. Well, hello, Louie. It's so nice to be back home where I belong. I can't sing like Florence Lacey in our show, and I can't dance like those wonderful boys, but I can turn into Dolly. You're looking swell, Manny. I can tell, Danny. The character's growing. I understand her more. It's my only barometer. You're still glowing. You're still growing. You're still going strong. Dolly's gotten bigger, higher, wider, handsomer, unashamed of her 5 physical senses. She bears them. She's gotten sexier and doesn't care who knows it.
It's all very sexual. I think that has a lot to do with it, too. And I wanted to bring that kind of energy into the show.
I feel the room swaying, for the band's playing one of my old favorite songs from way back when. So
Dolly is in Carol's bones and in her blood.
Bridge that gap, fellas, find me an empty lap, fellas. Dolly'll never go away again.
Carol Channing became Dolly Levi, is Dolly Levi today, and is even stronger in depicting this role in 1995 than she was in 1964.
Dolly Levi! I pick up the script of Hello, Dolly every 15 years. See, John Gielgud said that to me. He said, you know, you Americans forget your classic characters. I do Hamlet every 15 years or so. You should do Hello, Dolly.
All aboard! All aboard! All aboard! All aboard! Put on your Sunday clothes there.
I wanted Carol to also think about how she felt about Dolly today, because it's such a rich role that there's so much there to think about. And when you think about what has happened in the past 30 years, primarily women's liberation.
To town we'll trot to a smoky spot where the girls are hot as a fuse.
I've met many women, great women. Could have happened in 1890 like Dolly did, or they could happen in 95, 96. 1996. They could have happened anytime. They make their own code of living. They have their own emotions, and they can't stop it. That's Dolly, and that's what attracted me. Dolly happened in 1890. That's at a time when women were ornaments, and breeders and homemakers, which is a great talent and not to be sneezed at.
This house without a woman would be an empty shell.
That's an art and a talent that some women have, but Dolly Gallagher Levi didn't have it. She was a widow, and she had to work in eking out an existence. I might also mention I'm available for financial consultation, instruction in the guitar and mandolin. And then she turns around suddenly, and just like all of us, talks to her dead husband, and you realize she's frightened like we all are. A perfectly good oak leaf, but without color and without life. And I suddenly realized that I was like that leaf.
And her speeches to her husband now, to her late husband, Ephraim Levi, are more touching and more heartfelt than they ever were before. And they were always wonderful. They were always the highlight of the show for me. But something has happened now that makes them even stronger.
I think that she's found some wonderful things in the character this time, which we have worked together to bring, and I think she's very, very focused. And this an incredible magic comes out of her.
Wave your little hand and wish for so long, dearie, you ain't gonna see me anymore.
I wanted to restage Dearie and bring her out on the ramp again, and of course there was always that unsaid law, Dolly never goes on the ramp again. Once she does the Dolly number, you can't compete with that, but the ramp represented to me the adventure. No one can work a ramp better than Carol Channing.
And on those cold winter nights, Horace,
Carol feeds from that energy of an audience.
you can snuggle up to your kiss register.
If she could, she would stand amongst them.
It's a little lumpy, but it rings. Well, in 1964, they did not identify with a forward bump. You know, they didn't identify with that. I had to do a sideways bump. Otherwise, well, that's a little, I mean, it's distasteful in the 1964. It was just a little too much. And now, I let them have it. I wind up and let them have it. And they laugh. They just feel, well, what are you going to do with her? I mean, she's already the age she is. You can't change her now. And so they just laugh. It's sort of like, well, what are you going to do with grandmother? Wow, fellas. Hey, look at the old girl now, fellas.
God bless her. She's out there getting standing ovations in the middle of a show. I've never seen that before. But they stand after the Dolly number.
David, I remember when you had a standing ovation as Salieri in Amadeus.
Well, that's nice of you to remember, yeah.
No standing ovations, unfortunately, in television, the medium that you're so famous for. How would Harry Chandler Moore,
great name,
the anchorman of Live Shot,
of truth,
how would Harry cover tonight,
well,
do you think?
he'd say, never before in the history of broadcasting have we witnessed an event of such breadth, of such scope and magnitude.
Very over the top,
yeah,
the Harry,
well, Harry's
yes.
a little over the top. But a good anchorman, and he could, of course, never do it without the News Brothers. That's his crew in the field. I'm happy to report that one of them, Hill Harper, is standing by in the theater. So let's go to the live shot.
David and Pat, oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. This is one opening night performance that the audience is chomping at the bit for. I mean, Carol Channing, ha! It's gonna be great.
Seeing Carol Channing in this role, I've never seen her. I don't remember who I saw, but it was one of the series of Dolly, so this is a first.
My father was the original first violinist in the show 25 years ago when I was in Fiddler, and I'm so happy she's back. The best.
Isn't it exciting? This is my opening night on Broadway. Yes.
I'll be wearing ribbons down my back this summer. I'm a big Jerry Herman fan, and this is his greatest score. He's such a supporter of mine. I'm really here for him tonight as well.
No, I've never seen her do the show. I've just heard raves for a long time about Carol doing it, and I wanted to see her.
So this is a real treat, especially to see Carol come back where she belongs.
It really gives the rest of us in the theater a lot of hope to think that we'll be able to have a career that keeps on going strong like Carol Channing's.
Live shots. David Birney, Hill Harper, and I will be back with Barbara Walters, Betty White, and much more on this opening night of Hello, Dolly on Broadway.
Live from Broadway, Hello, Dolly is sponsored in part by your local Honda dealer. By IKEA, it's a big country, somebody's got to furnish it. By 9X, for advanced telecommunications, just leave it to 9X. And by the new Dodge. See your local Dodge dealer today.
David Birney and I at the Lunfontaine Theater, the opening night crowd behind us filing in.
But before we go any further, here's Hill Harper from Live Shot backstage to fill us in on the cast of characters.
Hi, Hill.
All right, Pat and David, check it out. To tell this story of Hello, Dolly, first, you got to start with Dolly, right? I mean, there's some place to hang your hat on, so to speak, okay? Now, Dolly makes an art out of matching people up. Next, we have Ambrose, a painter, not a penny to his undistinguished name, who's madly in love with that Ocean of Tears Ermengarde, whose rich, miserly uncle, Horace Van de Gelder, will see hell freeze over before he lets the two marry. Next, there is Cornelius. Now, Cornelius is chief clerk at Van de Gelder's Hay and Feed. Okay, y'all? Now, Cornelius, my man, is 33, and he's never been kissed. Now, I know there's some of y'all out there that can relate to that. I mean, Pat and David aside, you know. Now, Cornelius, with his friend Barnaby, go off in search of that first kiss and a stuffed whale in that order. And they happen to stumble into a hat shop, you know? There is a theme here, people. Come on, stay with me. And they find the widow, Irene Malloy, and her young, sexy assistant, Minnie Fay. Meanwhile, Horace Van de Gelder thinks he's marrying Irene. Now, that's a match that Dolly has made. But Dolly wants my man Horace for his money, right? Because it's just like Dolly's late husband, Ephraim Levi, said. Money is like, pardon the expression, manure. It ain't worth a thing unless you spread it around, and that's right. Ha! Now, as this wonderful story of hats and characters winds to the curtain, all the lovers, they go off into the sunset, right? But you just gotta stick around to see who's matched with who. I don't even know. Ah!
Hill, you look really classy in those hats. And speaking of hats, there's a man in Hello, Dolly that wears multiple hats.
This man, David, has written more showstoppers than anyone else I can think of. And songs like The Best of Times Is Now, and If He Walked Into My Life Today, and of course, the terrific score of Hello, Dolly.
You know, if Hello, Dolly has a message, it's live for the moment. Don't let life pass you by. And the man who transforms that message into music is Jerry Herman.
There was Irving Berlin. I couldn't believe it. He brushed me aside, knowing that I had very little to do with making Hello, Dolly the hit that it is. He knew who did it, went straight to Jerry, and he said, "Young man, you're the future of Broadway." And he looked at him as if he were proud of his son.
Hi, I'm Jerry Herman, and I wrote the music and lyrics for Hello, Dolly, and I'd like to welcome you to these opening night festivities. Writing a score that took place in the 1890s in New York City was very natural for me. I didn't have to do any research. It just poured out of me. It was a great experience. Suddenly to be writing what I should have been writing all along, which is Americana. I started writing Hello, Dolly with the clip-clop of horses' hooves of the period in my mind. I always try and hook on to something that says 1930 or 1890. And I started by going, and that became, put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out.
Step down the street and have your picture took.
It was all clear sailing from there. I had my sound and I had my hook. The next song I wrote was the song called Dancing.
My head is about to pop, and now that I'm dancing, who cares?
It seemed very 1890s, and I pictured the costumes whirling around, even though we didn't have costumes at this point. I was often running with ideas, and song after song just happened. Thornton Wilder is a very lyrical writer. For example, Mrs. Malloy says in one scene in The Matchmaker,
this summer we'll be wearing ribbons down our backs.
I read that line and I just had to go. I'll be wearing ribbons down my back this summer. It said to me what a young widow would be thinking, more clearly, more beautifully than anything I could have come up with on my own.
So if someone special.
Ribbons Down My Back, I think, is an absolutely perfect song. And when I think of Jerry, I tend to, almost that's the first song that comes to mind.
The Dolly story really depends very strongly on Before the Parade Passes By, because it is what the whole show is about.
And he suddenly realized Before the Parade Passes By is the essence of what Hello, Dolly's all about. And he changed the title, too, from A Damned Exasperating Woman to Hello, Dolly.
I wrote this song very, very quickly, probably in no more than a half hour. And I was so excited with it that I called Carol Channing's room and I apologized and I said, Carol, I know I'm waking you up.
There he was at the piano. He said, will you listen to this, see if you like it?
I played it. Before the parade passes by. And I had to sing it that quietly. And she got so excited.
I just flipped.
She picked up the phone and called Gower Champion. And
now, I got called before the director and choreographer, before the almighty benevolent despot Gower Champion. I was called, and Jerry wanted to know if I liked it.
And once more with Gower, I went, I was a little braver, and I didn't care if I woke anybody up when I went, before the parade passes by, I'm gonna go and taste Saturday's high life.
We danced Ring Around the Rosies, the three of us together, because we knew that was the essence of the show.
It made the title song, Hello, Dolly, which happens in Act 2, a much more moving and powerful experience. Out in front, I've had enough of just passing by.
Before the Parade Passes By is a powerful, powerful song. You can just say his songs, and suddenly they make you feel wonderful without even the music.
Parade passes by, I'm gonna get some life back into my life.
It worked out to be the most important song, perhaps, that I've ever written.
David Birney and I will be back with Carol Channing, Jerry Herman, and the rest of the Hello, Dolly cast. But first, we have a trivia question for you.
At the turn of the century, Dolly was there. Where were you? The infamous Cherry Sisters made their debut. Crowds loved to hate them so much they would throw spoiled fruit and vegetables. Mailboxes were littered with the very first wish book, also known as the Sears catalog. At the Chicago World's Fair, Little Egypt danced the scandalous Coochie Coochie dance. Cornelius and Barnaby learned to waltz. Andy Bowen and Jack Burke exchanged punches for 110 rounds in 7 hours for the longest recorded boxing match ever. Do you know what year it was? We'll let you know when Live from Broadway, Hello, Dolly continues.
Introducing.
We call it the Scottish play because it's
Macbeth?
Oh, please don't say that. What have you done? What have
you
done?
aren't that super.
Oh, I really am.
Oh,
anyway,
no, well,
listen,
tell me the story.
This is an actual opening night story. Macbeth was wearing a large cross, and you know, he kills Banquo in the play and then has a large banquet for the rest of his lords. In the course of this banquet, Banquo reappears and Macbeth goes into this long hysterical sort of rant, and then comes out of it. He's hallucinated the murdered Banquo, and he tries to quiet his Thanes. And as I did that, I leaned over, and this cross caught in one of the Thane's wigs and lifted it right off suddenly, and this fellow is absolutely bald.
Not a pretty sight.
And I didn't know that this had happened, and all of a sudden looked down, and it was like, ah! It was like this rat around my neck, you know? Took the thing and hurled it off and dared the audience to laugh. So it was one of those things where the next morning when they wrote about it, they said, we weren't sure that this happened, but it looked like it happened.
Looked really weird.
A narrow escape.
We're proving that in the theater, anything can go wrong, and often does, and more would go wrong if you did not have a terrific director.
All right? Ready, Richard? Hit it. And remember that you bow first. And you think what she said.
I think it's the best version there's ever been. And I think LeRoy has a great deal to do with that.
Very good. I can see everything. I am LeRoy Reams. I directed and staged Hello, Dolly. I wanted this production of Dolly to be my interpretation.
Man, you're sweet.
Down the street and have your picture took.
I wanted Carol to be inspired and stimulated again playing Dolly. I didn't want her to spend her time in rehearsal thinking about what was or what we did do. I wanted it to be what we are doing now and how we feel about it now. Carol is the reason I am doing the show.
It's got the original great star who is recreating it once again, but recreating it with a director who has got respect for what was there, but with his own ideas to make it as full and as rich, as Tyne Daly says, deeper, richer, fuller, better.
When I was at my junior prom in Covington, Kentucky, there was a wonderful nightclub there called the Beverly Hills Country Club. And at the junior prom, we went to Beverly Hills with our dates, and the entertainer was Carol Channing. And she sang "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend." And at the end of her act, just to show how long ago it was, she threw these wonderful bracelets out. So I caught one that night, and I kept it, and then, of course, years later, I'm in Lorelei. I came to rehearsal with that bracelet and showed Carol, and it sort of linked us.
LeRoy isn't just behind the scenes these days, he's also center stage, playing Lumiere 8 days a week in Beauty and the Beast.
I love to perform. I love being on stage. Having a spotlight on me is the greatest feeling in the world.
LeRoy's stage credits go on and on. On Broadway as Billy Lawler in 42nd Street, as Alvin in a Los Angeles 10th anniversary revival of La Cage aux Folles, and repaid tribute to Jerry Herman in a performance at the Hollywood Bowl.
We'll see the shows at Delmonico's, and we'll close the town in a whirl, and we won't come home until we've kissed a girl.
LeRoy portrayed Cornelius Hackle in a 1978 revival of Hello, Dolly. Guess who suggested LeRoy for the role?
When Hello, Dolly, the 1978 revival came along, she asked me to play Cornelius Hackle. Of course, I had to get the approval of Jerry Herman and the director, Lucia Victor, who was Gower Champion's production stage manager. And they approved, but as Carol said, don't worry, you got the part.
Yeah, there
we go.
We didn't want to do a modern dress version of Hello, Dolly, or we didn't want to do a break-dancing, you know, interpretation of Hello, Dolly. We wanted to remain true to the style. I think the Gower Champion was a genius in his concepts of that cinematic style of taking a musical number, letting one character start it, let another character develop, and let the chorus come in and lead you into the next scene.
So exactly how has LeRoy made the show his own?
Many little things, but important things. For instance, at the end of the first act in the dancing number, where Dolly teaches Cornelius how to dance.
1, 2, 3.
I wanted to show how Cornelius started out very awkward.
3.
The best way that I described it to him, I said, it's like the Frankenstein walk.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Wow, I'm dancing!
I will say, with this production, it is brilliantly reproduced. And I've seen many reproductions of Dolly over the years. This one fulfills every single thing that, that Gower intended. And even maybe enhances it a bit.
I had a great time exploring these characters with the actors who were in this production because they were enjoying it too.
My heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop.
And I wanted to be a process that we all had a good time. And basically, that's what happened.
David and I will be back live from the Lunt-Fontaine Theater in the heart of Broadway right after this.
Yeah.
Director choreographer is what Gower Champion was. It's very hard for me to say choreography with Gower because the steps weren't all that unique, but that came from the background of vaudeville, the background of ballroom, the background of supper clubs. All of that fed into his talent as a showman.
Just one big vaudeville number there, the Motherhood March. And it works like a charm.
I regret that I've one idea for my country. In the words of Lincoln, one is by land and two by sea.
Hello, Dolly's a perfect example of choreography that resembles an ice cream parlor. It's all different flavors and colors. Dancing it is wonderful. The dance music in Hello, Dolly is maybe the finest ever.
I think it's the most perfect example of the marriage of dance, drama, comedy, set design.
I think waltz or any dance is where it brings two people together very closely. There's something about dancing with another person. It's very romantic. It's very, well, physically passionate, I think. You know, it's hard to describe, but it's quite a beautiful feeling, whirling around the floor with another person.
And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Wow, I'm dancing!
That wasn't difficult, was it?
A lot of directors, the story goes, were offered Hello, Dolly. But there is a god of theater, and that god said to the right producer, hire Gower Champion, because he's perfect for Dolly.
Gower Champion was like a dream. When they did the Waiters Gallop, those of us who'd never seen it before we were floored.
Gower said to me, that's going to show the audience right at the top of the show that anything is possible in this musical, that we're really doing a comic strip.
I'm gonna do the hoochie coochie.
Bill Bateman, who was really wonderful, was the taskmaster who taught them the steps, and his body understood Gower's movements. So Billy worked so hard to make sure everything was just perfect, that the toe was pointed, the arm was at this position, they all. And then, once that was done, then it was my job to say, now, dance for me.
Release.
Unfurl. Wonderful, wonderful.
Gower Champion nailed this show. I mean, he nailed it in terms of the the design, the way it moves, the cinematic quality of the show.
I think Dolly is about as perfect as a show like that can get. It's stood the test of time.
I could have lived at the turn of the century, couldn't you?
Let me think. Corsets, bustles, whalebones in my ribs? I don't think so.
Oh, I know. A slave to fashion, right? Nevertheless, fashion was very important in Dolly's world.
Yes, it was.
Melissa Errico here on Central Park West. Okay, so it's Washington Square Park. But if you lived in New York at the turn of the century, you would know that Lower Fifth Avenue, AKA Ladies' Mile, was the place to be seen, if you could pass yourself off as a lady, that is. Minnie Fay, hat maker to the matchmaker, Dolly Gallagher-Levi, had to try really hard, always worrying about what dress to wear, what corset slims best, whether to wear the hat with the feathers or the hat with the flowers. You get the picture. Just take a look at the poor thing's diary.
Dearest Diary, at lunch today, Irene and I were discussing the recent fashions and how upsetting it all is. As I told Irene, I don't want to be one of the crowd. Oh, it's so difficult to fit into the mold of the modern woman. Goodness, all of us trying to conform to perfect fit charts, and why are there so many clothes for small-waisted women anyway? And to think that it's the other women who are making these clothes only to torment me. The problem is that there are too many choices. Long dresses, suits, and skirts, and oh, and all of those hats.
A hat store in the 1890s would be filled with the sort of sumptuous, elegant hats, Victorian, elaborate hats.
Well, as I always say, as long as you have a hat on your head and have everyone's attention, it doesn't really matter what you're wearing. I just get so tired of thinking about all of this at once. More tomorrow.
And stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
David, I've often wondered what makes a director cast a certain actor.
Pat, I ask the question all the time.
Well, I'm glad you have, because we've got an answer for that.
We'll see the shows at Delmonico's, and we'll close the town in a whirl, and we won't come home until we've kissed our girl.
You have a vision of what you think actors should look like. And Corey English walked in, and I thought, my God, that is Barnaby Tucker. Please, God, let him be able to speak and put one foot in front of the other. And of course he did. He was ideal.
Holy compulsions!
I just get on the stage and Barnaby takes over.
Stand aside!
Barnaby is simple, very simple, yet smart, hardworking, daydreamer, mama's boy who would love to meet a girl but is really, really afraid.
Holy cabooses!
So I see the table and I just run and I just dive under it. Well, because Barnaby has so much energy, he slides through, and that's mine. And they can use it. Anybody can use it in further Hello, Dolly.
The first time that LeRoy Reams came in to audition, and this wonderful little blonde face opened up her mouth, and I thought, my God, it's Minnie Fay. So I said she must read for Minnie Fay, and she was cast immediately.
What is she like? She's very exuberant. She's a teenager. Still kind of a girl, not quite yet a woman.
She can almost drive you crazy with her thinking process.
I think that, Mrs. Malloy, why? I'm very opinionated in my life and very,
But it works for her, and it works for the play.
I've been elegant all my life and never even knew it.
He's just in awe as soon as he sees her.
I think Minnie thinks Barnaby is totally cute.
We never get to kiss on stage, but I think our eyes kiss every time we look at each other.
They don't really say.
what happens to Minnie and Barnaby in the end, but that's what I assume. I think that they end up together.
You like my hat? Of course you do. Yeah, it's a cute little number I picked up from Hello Dolly's resident Mad Hatter, Irene Malloy. I bet you my mother would like it.
In your Easter bonnet, with all the frills upon it.
Oh yes, that's much more Irene.
Grandest lady in the Easter.
She loves hats. I think most women in the 1890s loved hats. They all wore them. They had to. They were beautiful. There's a great deal of Irene that I think is me. My father died when I was only a year old. And so I grew up with a young widow.
I'll be wearing ribbons down my back this summer.
The hat with the ribbons really kind of, for me, kind of symbolizes Irene's release from widowhood, that she wants to attract a man again. She wants to be joyful again. She wants to laugh again.
Mrs. Malloy, if you should ever happen to have a Sunday free in the near future, I'd be more than pleased to show you Yonkers from top to bottom.
And she meets, very much by chance, Cornelius Hackle, and within a moment falls in love and discovers that the world is full of wonderful things.
The combination of Irene's worldliness and Cornelius's naivete it's a wonderful match.
And in those Victorian times, in those very corseted times, she finds a way to be kind of free with him.
Oh, what can I do for you?
I started playing Hello Dolly back in 1977, a long time ago. And I've done, I think, 5 different productions of Hello Dolly. I won the Theatre World Award for playing Irene back in 1978. It was my Broadway debut. I spent 12 years of my life playing Evita, which was very challenging. So for me, Jerry Herman is like coming home again. Singing his music is unnatural to me.
It only takes some moment.
I think I've learned a lot about what a widow goes through, what the emotions of that are. I remember as a little girl begging my mother not to cry anymore. Things like that, that I know are the soul and the deep part of who Irene is.
We'll be going behind the scenes of this wonderful production, this revival of Hello Dolly, right after this message.
Well, there are actors who can sing, singers who can dance, dancers who can act.
And we would like to introduce you to a fellow who can do it all, a guy who is really out there.
Barnaby, you and I are going to New York! Out there's a world outside of Yonkers, way out there beyond this hick town, Barnaby. There's a slick town.
Cornelius is a very sincere, very hardworking young man. Not so young anymore, but...
Cornelius is, as you know, 33 years old, never been kissed, never been out of Yonkers.
We are not coming back to Yonkers until we have each kissed a girl.
I mean, New York is his mecca, a place of unlimited promise, unlimited opportunity. And there's girls there. Girls that they can kiss.
Close your eyes and see it glisten, Barnaby. Listen, Barnaby!
When I was in college, I got involved with a singing group, 12-man, close harmony, a cappella singing group. And it was, it just grabbed me. I just realized that this is what I wanted to do.
Put on your Sunday clothes, there's lots
I was in my junior year at Dartmouth College,
And I told my folks that I was going to leave to become a singer. It didn't go over real well. And I got my first professional job with Santa Fe Opera in their apprentice program. Once I was introduced to the opera world, I realized that's not where I wanted to live. It was a fairly easy decision to go from opera into musical theater, which I'd done in high school and really enjoyed. So it was also one of the best decisions I've made.
Champagne!
I'm not a physical comedian. I mean, I've never really studied that. So I was kind of a, what do they call it, tabula rasa, just a blank sheet that I was able to learn from LeRoy.
Because I was so married to the way that I had approached Cornelius Hackle that I didn't want to stop Michael's creativity. But at the same time, too, having played it, I knew that there were certain things that worked all the time for me.
It's a great role in terms of the emotional journey that Cornelius goes through. He says he's lost so many things, his job, his future, everything that people think is important. But he says, I don't care, because even if I have to dig ditches for the rest of my life, I'll be a
ditch digger who once had a wonderful day.
From my point of view, he travels the farthest in terms of the people in the show, because I mean, he starts here and he ends up here or out there. Out there.
It only takes a moment to be loved.
And he steps over that line into manhood.
What do you think would happen to our favorite characters, Barnaby and Cornelius, if they got zapped into the future?
I think they would freak out.
Freak out? Yeah, I think they'd just be lost. Be lost, huh? Well, those are two very good answers, but I'll tell you what would happen, dude. They'd have a very excellent adventure.
Hey, Yonkers, the air is clean. The water's clean. Even the dirt is clean. Read the card. Dolly Gallagher Levi. Spice her upper of dull lives of chief clerks and assistants who are bored with their jobs. No, dearie, read the other side. Thought you two could use a little adventure. Dolly? Open it. No, you open it. No, you open it. No, you open it. I have to do everything? Oh, my goodness. What is that? Don't. Careful. Oh. Mrs. Levi? Mrs. Levi? Mrs. Levi? Wait. Mrs. Levi, get out of there. You're going to hurt yourself. Oh, my gracious. For you. Hello, Dolly? We're not in Yonkers anymore. Dolly Gallagher Levi. Don't worry, it'll all make sense to you. I'm a professional. I'll meet you on the corner of 56th and 5th, Dolly. Dolly. Let's go. Come on. Not this one. Oh, gracious. Hello, Mrs. Levi. We're having a great time. Let me tell her about my will. Let me tell her about my will.
All right, here's Barnaby. Wait a second.
Hello, Dolly?
The Statue of Liberty! Come on, there she is! All right, you got 2 bits? Give it to me. Come on, here we go. Let's look. All right. I had an urgent appointment at the Lunfontaine Theater. Meet me there. Dolly. Sell the whale and take a cab.
The whale?
No, it's okay. We can keep the whale. Come on, we'll find some money somewhere. Okay, all right? Hi. How you doing? Yeah, we're just trying to get up to 46th Street. I'm sorry. Boy. These New Yorkers never give us any chances.
Hello.
Dolly? Not hello, Deli. Hello, Dolly.
Oh, you got one of these too. Dolly Gallagher Levi.
Skip that part. Turn it over.
Sorry about that last stop. This isn't an exact science, you know. Well, don't just stand there. Come in. You'll be late for the show. Dolly's got her own show.
Maybe there's a part in it for us. Come on!
At the turn of the century, Dolly was there. Where were you? Cigar smokers celebrated when Cuba became a U.S. protectorate after the Cuba Convention. Ambrose emulated his mentor Picasso when he entered his fuchsia period. Americans got a president who spoke softly and carried a big stick when Teddy Roosevelt took office after McKinley's assassination. Do you know what year it was? We'll tell you when Live from Broadway, Hello, Dolly continues.
Number. I'm here with David Birney, the star of UPN's Live Shot.
You know, Pat, I've been an actor for quite a while now, and nobody's career rivals that of Carol Channing. Not that I know.
And I think no one can possibly rival a career that has existed for half a century.
Well, lucky for us, it doesn't look like she's about to slow down anytime in the near future either.
Carol Channing is the consummate artist in the theater. She breathes and lives for that moment where the curtain's going to go up and she's going to face a new audience.
It is with great honor that I present this special Tony Award for Lifetime Achievement in the Theater to Carol Channing.
Thank you, Jerry Herman. I have decided that an audience must be like facing God Almighty. You can't lie to an audience if you're saying, this is me talking to you. I want a sign from you sometime today. We're dealing with their metabolism. We have to sense it. That's the thrill of the live theater. And you ask me, why don't you get bored with this? This is the essence of living.
I saw her in Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Raspberries!
Carol Channing can do anything she wants because she really, there's no time with Carol. She's sort of like, she stays the same. She's sort of like Carol Channing.
I'm a jazz baby.
I think it keeps her young and terrific and energized. It's wonderful.
Honestly, you have no idea what applause means to a performer. I don't care whether you're Helen Hayes or a whale at Marineland. We all need you. You just give us your applause, and we'll sing, dance, jump out of the water for a fish. We'll do anything.
She's a presence. You know, your eye goes to her. She is a great character, a great star. Madonna is like that, and Glenn Close is like that. They're people who call attention to themselves by their talent and their persona, and she's one of them.
From Lendoneer to Gentlemen for Blondes, you know, Lorelei, all these wonderful things she's done. You can only have a career if the audiences fall in love with you, and they love her time and time again.
She's a star. She comes on stage, looks at the audience, arms akimbo, and smiles, pigeon-toed, and you're hooked.
I'll never get over it.
Can you remember any kind of a cartoon of famous Broadway people that didn't contain Carol Channing right in the middle? I can't.
Well, it's the eyes and the mouth and that whole, and the way the arms come down and the hands that go the wrong way. I mean, all of that is descriptive of her whole character.
I have a previous appointment in Yonkers, New York, arranging the second marriage of Mr. Horace Vandergelder, the well-known half-a-millionaire. Thornton Wilder always believed in breaking the fourth wall. As my late husband, Ephraim Levi, always said, that means he's got at least 60,000 cash. That's why musical comedy is more popular than plays. They don't ignore the audience. You turn right around and you say, let me tell you my heart's blood. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. And you stand there like the Pope at the Vatican.
A kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Lorelei was no dumb blonde. She manipulated men like the president of General Motors. Her only criterion was, how many diamonds can I get from this man?
We worked with her on our own show, Wonderful Town, in which Carol replaced Rosalind Russell. She was wonderful in it.
She gave a very straight performance.
Lucky I'm such a quick study.
Love what we did 5 episodes. We were these 2 old retired vaudeville ladies. We had a good time with it.
Oh, you know we proved it. Women can do anything.
Oh, Pearl, I told you women are great.
I've been fortunate. I never stopped working. It makes you young. It makes you strong. You haven't got time to wither or fade.
Well, there's certainly nothing wrong with being a working girl. I was a working girl myself in the chorus, but I wasn't a boob.
Aren't I lucky? I've got this.
David, as an actor, I know you will agree with this statement that there are some things the audience is not supposed to see.
There are a lot of things the audience isn't supposed to see.
But we're going to show them to you anyway.
You know what they call me? What's her name? They do, too.
The coast is clear. Come on. This is Miss Channing's dressing room. This is her Act 1, Scene 1 costume, which is one of my favorites. It's designed by Jonathan Bixby based on Freddie Widup's original designs.
Oh, there's the vivid colors. There's so much lush color in it. The Sunday clothes is just filled with lush, big fat colors is what I call them.
This lovely, tasteful ensemble weighs about a good 25 to 30 pounds.
Yes, it's all about being an actress.
Putting on my top hat, tying up my white tie, brushing off my tails.
What is Vandergelder doing in Purple Tails, of all things? The original Horace Vandergelder. He was decked out in Purple Tails.
Give a tug to your tie, put a crease in your pants. But if you really want to feel fine, give your shoes a shine.
Here are some of Miss Channing's shoes and boots, and the green ones are my favorites. Are quite stylish, don't you think? Here we are in Hair Central for Hello, Dolly. This is Michelle Tibbetts. She's looking rather good today.
This is Miss Channing's stand-in.
I hate it, and she's really not bald.
Well, this is my microphone. It's a headband because I used to use a toupee clip, and they started pulling my hair out, so we went with a headband, and when the sound man makes it too small, it cuts off the circulation to my head, and then Carol looks really strange.
I want to show you the net. This is the net which protects our wonderful orchestra from any mishaps or dancers that might step into the pits. The dancers in the Waiter's Gallop actually jump over the pit. Here is the trapdoor where Cornelius and Barnaby, who are Vandergelder's 2 clerks, get to spend a lot of their time waiting for their entrances. We have lovely futons and mattresses, and it's very comfortable down there. See you later, boys.
Where are we?
We're here. The show's going on as I speak. It's live from Broadway. Hello, Dolly. Oh.
If music is no longer lovely, if laughter is no longer lilting, if lovers are no longer loving, then I don't want to know.
That's from Dear World.
That's right.
I remember
That's
that.
right.
And,
Yeah.
you know, that's what's so extraordinary about Jerry Herman's music. It's from an era when you didn't go out singing the sets. You went out singing the music, and it's so singable, even by people who shouldn't be singing it. And so many artists, so many singers have made a career just by singing Jerry Herman tunes.
For the band's playing.
Time heals everything. Tuesday, Thursday.
If he walked into my life today, I am what I am.
The great thing about Jerry's music is that you walk out of the theater singing it.
You do hum them on the way out of the theater. And I think that's wonderful, and I applaud that tradition.
Just laugh and laugh until you're sore. Then take a breath and laugh some more. Wear a smile, but never a frown, and that's how to be a clown. I starred in his first show, Step Right Up. He did the score, and we've been friends ever since.
Here we are with my first Broadway baby. I received my first Tony nomination for this, so it was a wonderful beginning. I was still in my 20s, and the whole world was opening up for me.
He was the new boy in town. So Merrick saw this show, liked it, and summoned Jerry Herman to his office and said, I'm doing a musical based on Thornton Wilder's The Matchmaker, and I would love for you to be the composer.
He was interested in me to write both music and lyrics because I only write both.
In those days, to write a score for David Merrick was the height of anyone's aspirations.
And I went home and wrote 4 songs that fit very neatly into the Mike Stewart script.
And brought them to Merrick on Monday morning. One or two of those songs are still part of the Hello, Dolly score.
This show worked from the first performance on and has been playing ever since. There isn't an evening where somewhere in the world a lady with a bugle is not singing If You Walked Into My Life. There was a time at the end of the 60s when I had had 3 hits in a row. I was really spoiled. I thought you just wrote a musical and it ran for 7 years. And then the 70s came, and I wrote some of my most interesting work, certainly more mature work. The shows didn't work, and I went through a very difficult time. But then I had the guts to do another one at the beginning of the 80s called La Cage aux Folles, and I was back on top.
You get a limousine to drive you to La Cage aux Folles.
I know when I did La Cage aux Folles, there were moments in that musical where I had to control myself every night to not go too far because they were so meaningful to me.
There should always be a Jerry Herman musical on Broadway. Always.
Hello, Dolly. Oh, my goodness. It's definitely a New York...
All right, David Birney, are you ready for the Hello Dolly quiz?
No, what are you going to do?
Name all the Dollies in 10 seconds. Go.
Carol Channing, Pearl Bailey, Ethel Merman, Mary Martin, Betty Grable, Ginger Rogers, Martha Ray, Phyllis Diller.
And he did it, and he did it. And I'm impressed, and an impressive list, I might add, of
no wonder.
ladies.
I mean, Dolly is one of the great leading female roles of all time.
It is certainly right up there with the biggies like Norma Desmond and
Gypsy Rose Lee.
And Eliza Doolittle.
Eliza, yes. What's so special about Dolly is that she's timeless, which is why I suppose the character's lasted for over 30 years.
Let's take a look at all the Dollies of the past and revisit the showstopper of all showstoppers.
Nice to have you back where you belong.
Dolly Gallagher-Levi, that damned, exasperating woman, is one of the great creations of the musical theater, because both the way Thornton Wilder conceived it and the way Jerry and Mike Stewart conceived it, it's a role with infinite possibilities.
The Dollies were fabulous. They were wonderful. I enjoyed every one of them. They each brought something new to the part.
They were all stars, and they brought their own personalities to the role. I mean, it's very difficult to equate Ethel Merman with Carol Channing. Ethel had a way of shattering the audience, you know. She had that loud voice. Carol is like a cream puff. I don't know, there's something cute and lovable about her. Pearl Bailey and Ethel Merman, also wonderful stars, but they brought their own interpretations to it, and I saw no similarity between the three of them.
Pearl Bailey was a great Dolly, and she didn't change a word. People think that we rewrote the show for Pearl because she has that style of saying, well, honey, you know, and so she threw in a couple of well, honeys, or my feet are killing me, or whatever she was famous for. But every word and every note was the same.
Hello, Carol. Well, hello, Carol. It's so nice to see you back where you belong. I started in California and went to New York with the Broadway show that opened and closed, and then that is how I happened to be standby for Carol Channing in Hello, Dolly. Now, do you know the difference between a standby and an understudy? The difference between a standby and an understudy is about $500 a week. And they knew Carol Channing would never be out of Hello, Dolly. She told me, she said, Joanne, you know, I'll never miss a show. But she said, if I have to be out, I'll give you 2 days' notice. Which would mean the president wanted to talk to her or something.
Hello, well, hello.
It seemed important in the pop music band at that point to have a song that you could sing that was from the current Broadway show.
And on the loudspeaker came Louis Armstrong's recording of Hello, Dolly.
Swaying, and the band is playing. One of our favorite tunes, way back when,
He had the vision to turn my 1890s production number into a classic jazz recording that became so popular it threw the Beatles off of the #1 position in Billboard for a couple of weeks. The timing was perfect because Louis and the show opened at the same time.
Well, a lot of people have asked me the difference of playing with Mary and then Ginger Rogers and then with Darling Carol. the difference. And it's apples, oranges, and peaches. You can't define. They were all Dolly Gallagher Levi.
Mary Martin's Dolly was very much the lady. She wasn't the outrageous comedian. She played her quite proper and scheming, and with a twinkle in her eye.
Phyllis Diller was an adorable doll. I was very proud of Phyllis because she didn't use that stand-up comic great thing of hers. She played it as an actress and was quite wonderful.
I think Miss Merman's Dolly differed in that it was more of a no-nonsense Dolly. She'd just stand there with her legs spread apart and just belt out those songs. And the audience just went crazy.
Merman has a way of standing just center stage and singing. And it was very focused and wonderful. And it was just great to see her on the stage.
I saw Pearl Bailey, and I saw Ethel Merman. I saw, I think, Phyllis Diller. Saw a few of them, and they were all wonderful. They're all great talents within, but she's Dolly. She is Dolly, and that's it. That's the bottom line. But I can't see anybody bringing anything more to that role than Carol.
Hello, Jerry, and hello, Carol. I know the show will be a hit all over again. Who could top Carol anyway? I mean, you know, the thing that stands out for me, and I've seen Dolly a lot with many great ladies, but when it comes down to that particular character, she is just brilliant. I mean, the eating scene alone is a lesson in theater, but there's something about Carol Channing and Dolly Levi that is meant to be.
LeRoy, do your Carol impersonation for them, because I really can't do it. Go ahead, take it, honey.
Hello, Jerry. Well, oh, hello, Hollywood Bowl. Hello out there, hello, yes. Well, it's so nice to have me here where I belong.
Forgive me, every other lady who's done this brilliantly, but Dolly belongs to Carol Channing.
Those are some wonderful women that are wonderful actors, and that's no joke. But we're live from Broadway. It's Hello, Dolly.
Begins in Yonkers, which, by the way, is not a one-horse town.
Yonkers, that's just up and to the right of New York City.
See, that's exactly right. Let's go to the Rand McNally and find it on the map.
Ah, Getty Square. It's always been the heart of Yonkers. How do I know? Well, I'm Charles Bush, and for 25 years, my father had a music shop just around the corner from here. I worked there briefly, but, well, I never sold anything because I was too busy listening to Broadway show albums. Now, take Cornelius Hackle, on the other hand. You know, chief clerk at Vandergelder's Hay and Feed. Well, he seems to be more driven than I was. Now, I found this resume of his, and from the look of it, he seems to be about to make a move up.
To whom it may concern, a pleasant and most gracious good day to you. My name is Cornelius Hackle. I work for Mr. Horace Vandergelder, who recently promoted me to chief clerk for the 3rd time. At this time, I would like to make a career change. You will find from my exemplary resume herewith enclosed that I am a fully qualified salesman. However, I rather picture myself taking the coach to work in New York on a daily basis.
Many people who lived in Yonkers commuted to New York City, and it was one of the first suburbs of New York City.
But for the immediate, perhaps you require someone who knows the value of wearing one's Sunday best, or perhaps someone who knows how to appreciate a good meal. I can also certainly push a broom. While some might abhor it, I would welcome the opportunity to sit next to a girl at work. Basically, I am willing to punch the clock and work a full day for whomever, whenever, in the exception that it is not Mr. Horace Vandergelder. Yours very truly, sincerely, Cornelius Hackle.
What do you get when you put together an overbearing uncle, a cheapskate, a mean employer? Bob Dole? Just kidding. Horace Vandergelder, Dolly's resident $500,000, all right? How much is $500,000? Well, I don't know, but David Birney told me before the show he was a $500,000. You know, maybe I could get a loan or something. Oh, let's check out Dolly's $500,000, Horace Vandergelder.
There are misers. There are people who love money. And then there's Horace Vandergelder.
Do I want to make a deposit? No, I don't want to make a deposit. I want to take some money and go to the safety deposit vault. I'm Jay Garner, and I play Horace Vandergelder in Hello, Dolly. Horace Vandergelder's the half-a-millionaire.
99% of the people in this world are fools.
He's made an awful lot of money, and we're not too sure whether all of it was legal or not. He has 2 employees that he pays practically nothing. He is a miser as far as that's concerned, except on himself. And then, oh man alive, he just, you know, spends it like water.
It takes a woman all powdered in pink to joyously clean out the drain and the sink.
I have thought this all along. I thought, oh man alive, those women may come up en masse from the audience and just wring my neck. Or worse, it is, in this day and time, sexist. But it's certainly right for the period that we're playing. It does really say at the beginning of the show what Horace is all about and how the obstacles that Dolly has got to overcome to get him in the end.
I won't ask you to marry me. I suppose
If anybody had told me 30 years ago that I would be playing the role opposite Carol Channing, I'd have said, oh, you're crazy with the heat.
Vandergelder is a difficult role to cast because many times he's a grumpy old man, but I wanted him to have a little more color than that.
If I want an ideal wife, I'll find one of my own. Yep. And I found her, and it's you. Damn it.
Jay is naturally a very funny, very warm, lovable man. We didn't have to work on that at all. That's instinctive. But we just wanted to make sure that he was that barrier that Dolly kept hitting up against until finally they meld together.
I never knew